Hey everyone, my name is Samuel and this is my tutorial video for a fingerstyle arrangement of Nate's theme, which is the main theme of the fantastic game series Uncharted. It's based on Daniel Fernandez Holdt-Olesen's version, which you can find on YouTube. I'm gonna play it first and then we're gonna break down how it goes. Alright, before we dive into the arrangement, there are at least two disclaimers I have to make. The first one is the major disclaimer. I'm nowhere near a guitar expert, and not pretending to be one. Actually, I'm not really satisfied with the way I played it before, but I ran out of patience. I practice guitar with YouTube tutorials, just like you do, obviously. And wanted to give something back to the YouTube guitar community for this piece which I desperately wanted to learn, and where I couldn't find a decent tutorial, or in fact not even a decent tab when I first approached it. In the meantime, there's one on Ultimate Guitar, and so I transcribed Daniel Fernandez Holdt-Olesen's version with minor differences, but there are automatically differences depending on which Uncharted part you base your arrangement on. So this is my first guitar tutorial video, so it's not professional at all if it comes to me playing it, if it comes to my tab, if it comes to my video editing skills. Yeah, but if there's only one guitar liner for which this video is helpful, then it's just done a good job. Yeah. The second disclaimer, as you might already have been able to notice, is that English is not my native language, so I might be struggling for vocabulary. But I'll do my very best, and now we can start. Alright, before we dive into the arrangement, we put the capo on the 6th fret, which might cause the first controversy. Capo 6 is, according to Daniel Fernandez Holdt-Olesen's version, and if you want to play along to the Uncharted 4 version of the theme, if you want to play along to the versions of Uncharted 1, 2 and 3, you have to put the capo on the 7th fret. But that's only important if you want to play along to the original theme. If you want to play on your own, it will be sounding good no matter where you put your capo. It might even be helpful if you're struggling with the high notes on the second repetition, where it goes like this. So if you don't have a cutout on your guitar and are struggling with reaching those frets, you can put your capo lower and can reach those frets more comfortably. Alright, the first chord we need is an A minor chord, a very simple chord for the beginning of this piece, but as Nathan Lake might say, sic parvis magna. Alright, and the first note we're playing is on the 3rd string, the 2nd fret. We're lifting our first finger at the beginning and play as a second note the empty B string, and after it we're put down our first finger and play it together with the A bass note. So these are the first 3 notes. Empty D string, empty E string, empty D string, and that's our A minor chord for the beginning. We change into G major with the 3rd fret on the low E string and the 3rd fret on the B string. Empty D string, empty G string, and change it into C with the 1st fret on the B string, first on its own, then together with the bass note. High E string, and then we arpeggiate the C chord with those 2 notes along to each other. Then comes the F major chord. We need the 1st frets of the low E string, the B string and the high E string, and play it before the D string, the 3rd fret of the D string, 2 times. Change into C again. This time we put our pinky on the 3rd fret, the 3rd fret of the B string. It is. Okay, so we come from the F major chord, lift it off again, play these 3 strings together: D string, G string, B string, high E string, and change into a G chord, where we have a little lick on the B string. So we come from the C chord. So bass note with the 3rd fret on the B string, empty D string, 1st fret, and empty. 3rd fret again, empty high E string, and the change into a D major chord, which we arpeggiate. C major with the same pinky movement on the 3rd fret. Lift it off again and into the G chord. This time we stay here on the 3rd fret and arpeggiate the strings between. Here there's a difference between the original score and Daniel Fernandez Holdt-Olesen's version. In the original, this F chord is held a bar longer, I think, but he moves into the A minor chord with coming from the arpeggiated F chord. With this lick, so first finger is here on the B string, is lifted off, second fret on the G string, and then a hammer on coming into the A minor chord. And then the A minor chord gets arpeggiated the way you can see it on the tab. There's a variation or a deviation, I think it's the word, from Daniel Fernandez Holdt-Olesen's version. I like to play the last arpeggio coming from the high E string. I think he plays it only this way. But I think in Uncharted 3 you come from the high note, which I really like. So that's our first two lines of the tab. Then we start the second part with the E minor. Alright, for the beginning of the second part we put on the E minor chord, and our melody note is on the second fret of the D string. If you want to harmonize it more, then it's written on the tab. You only have the A string, so it would be like this. But according to the tab, it's only again G chord. First with the empty B string, then with the third fret and arpeggiated or harmonized with the empty D string in between. I'm going into C major, and the chord is arpeggiated as before. So. B string and G string are played together in this part of the tab. Okay, now F again, but we're not putting on a complete F chord like this, but with the ring finger on the third fret of the D string, because we need the pinky when we play after coming from the first fret of the low E string, first fret of the B string, and second fret of the G string, accompanied by the third fret of the D string. Then we need the pinky on the B string together with the G string, so I'm going into A minor, E minor, with the only finger we have to put on the A string, F again, this time the normal F chord, because this is our note. Then we have a change in the bass note, so we arpeggiate our F chord. And play the low E string and the D string 2 times after each other, but the first time with the first fret on the low E string, and then with the empty low E string. And go into a D minor chord with the B string and G string after each other. The first time with the bass note. Then back to E minor, but we need the first fret here as a melody note. And back to A minor. And that's the second part. Alright, for the third part there are two variations, one with low notes and one with high notes. But first we play the low version. We're coming from the A minor chord. Then it continues, the A minor chord continues with the D string and the B string, and after that we lift off the first finger and go into an F chord, which sounds very nice if you strum it a little, or arpeggiate it complete. At least until the third string, so maybe. I like to do a little slap, but you don't have to. And after that, the empty G string and a movement into the C chord with a hammer on, which I think is the characteristic of this part. So the A string and D string are played together, and the second finger, the second fret with your middle finger, is hammered on. So A string again, G string. If you want to harmonize, you have only the A string in your repertoire. And back to C, but play it not as sloppy as I did. With, at first only the G string on its own, then together with the C bass note and arpeggiating. So again this part. Coming from the C, so we arpeggiate the C chord and lift off the first finger. F again. Completely the same. But after we went into G, there's a change into E minor, so with the empty G string, at first on its own, then together with the E bass note, and we arpeggiate we arpeggiate the second fret on the D and A string. Bass note again, and going into A minor, coming from the empty G string, where we hammer on our second finger along to the A bass note. So and then the first and second part gets repeated, and when we reach this part, this time we go high. So, and we do this coming from the A bass note, that's the last note of the second part. So we come from this. Play the low E string and go high on the 8th fret, relative to the capo, of course, of the high E string. So 8th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, and I like to do it with my ring finger, because after it we go into it's an F chord but D shaped, so it's like this, but 3 frets higher. So if you want to harmonize, you have to put the pinky on here, so it becomes a D shape completely. Our bass note here is the F on the D string. We lift off the ring finger on the 5th fret, play the D, the 3rd fret of the high string, and go into an F chord, into a C chord. I don't know what's going on here. Arpeggiate it. And go into a G chord. If you want to harmonize it, well, you can do it. And move into C chord. And coming from the C chord, we do exactly the same thing as in the first variation and repeat it again. So after the C comes again the F. Without that note, that's not supposed to be there. Again, we're coming from the bass note, which was before the A, now it's the C, so we have to switch a finger. And play again the empty E string, the 8th fret and the 7th fret. And this time it might be easier with our pinky than with our ring finger. And so after it we can change to our ring finger on the high E string and go into the D-shaped F. Again into the C, into the G, so. And like in the first variation, we go from there into the E minor chord. Arpeggiate it and go into the A minor with the hammer on. And we've reached the finish line. So that's my arrangement. Again, it's based on Daniel Fernandez Holdt-Olesen, complicated name, but now I've said it the last time. Yeah, and if you think this video was helpful, then I'm very happy. Bye bye.